Hey, let me hijack this show real quick.
Here we go.
To anybody from Denver that's complaining about the duo conversation yesterday, you can suck it. I defended your duo. So there you go. Lindsay, can you take the show over now?
Welcome, everybody, to the PHNX Suns podcast.
Send all your complaints to Michaela Perkins on Twitter, please.
Oh, my God.
Happy Thursday.
He never saw Barry. Didn't want to
Welcome
poke.
into the chaos. Lord have mercy. I'm Lindsay. That's Gerald. That's Espo over there, just stirring the pot. But why not? It's August, so what's a little drama to keep things interesting?
To be fair, Denver, that was more about Michaela than it was about you.
This is true. It was, absolutely. Listen, to start the show, we did get a Shams tweet. We finally know when the Suns are going to be opening the 2023-24 NBA season.
Wee-oo. Breaking news.
Nailed
Just
it.
in, Shams tweeted, opening night schedule for the 2023-24 NBA season will be on October 24th on TNT. Sources tell them the Los Angeles Lakers at the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns at the Golden State Warriors. Does this surprise you at all?
No. I
No.
mean, you get two intriguing things here. I mean, I had said I thought it might be the Christmas Day matchup,
Right.
but opening night makes just as much sense. CP3 against the Suns, KD back in Golden State. It makes sense.
Yeah, and this will be his first game that he's played back in Golden State in front of actual crowds,
Yeah.
like since he left. He did play one game there with the Nets, but there were no crowds in at that time because of the pandemic. But yeah, we thought it would either be probably Nuggets or Warriors. Those were the two most likely options. The NBA is not taking any chances, waiting until Christmas to make sure KD is healthy for that return. They're like, you are going to be on that damn court.
Right.
We're going to get this
Thanks,
game.
NBA. Now we got to worry all preseason. you know?
Yeah, so it should be fun. Like, it's going to be a fun matchup, not just because of the KD thing, but because these are two star-studded teams. Suns added Bradley Beal. Warriors now have Chris Paul, his first game against the Suns since the trade that he's still he feels some type of way about it. So it's going to be a fun opening night matchup.
Yeah, I agree. And this maybe leads us to put the pieces together that maybe we'll play the Nuggets on Christmas Day.
Feels that way.
So that was my initial thought, but I wonder if we could get a finals rematch from 2021 and go Bucks with Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday, and get a little Eastern-Western conference, kind of thing going on this year. I don't know. Like, is Denver Phoenix sexy enough? It means a lot to all of us, but is that sexy on a national stage? I could see where you can sell finals rematch, Giannis versus KD, Middleton versus Booker, more than Nuggets Suns on the national stage.
I think 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been a quote unquote sexy enough matchup. I think at this point in time, though, the NBA has to just lean in.
Yeah.
Like
That's fair.
you can't fight it anymore. You're talking about the Nuggets who just won a championship, the Suns who are, when we talk about ranking teams, always in at least the top 4 of everyone's list. Like at some point in time, you just got to lean into the fact that there are other teams in the mix now at the top of the league.
Yeah.
And you should be lifting them up and helping build their fan bases because it is what it is. Like, what are you going to do? Continue to pump the same 4 teams that you have over the last 12 decades
Right.
and not give any love to the teams that are actually winning?
Yeah.
Like, at some point, you just got to lean in.
And with the playoff history, recent matchups between these two teams and just the revamped roster that you look at what Phoenix has and how they specifically targeted their offseason to address certain problems that came up in the Nuggets series, I feel like there is a good amount of rivalry there that's brewing. So I think that would be a good Christmas Day matchup. And I do think, like, I swear every year, the last couple of years, they've been in like Oklahoma City on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So for like travel purposes, it might be easier Denver being a little bit closer than somewhere on the East.
Mhm.
Don't give me Suns, Mavs, and Luka.
Mm.
I prefer my turkey on Thanksgiving, not on Christmas.
Oh
Thank
my
you very
God.
much.
I also just don't want. No, I'm okay.
I don't want to deal. Look, I
I'm a
prefer not
pass.
Nuggets either, just because I don't want to deal with that on my Christmas.
I mean,
Whenever we have to do a post game for that, I'd prefer not to have to deal with that
Look,
again.
The Suns are 0-2 since they started getting Christmas Day games again. We need a W. So hopefully whoever they get,
So
they're able
Houston
to turn it around.
it is. All right.
I don't know. We'll
I mean,
see.
given
but
the Lakers, we haven't lost to the Lakers since like.
that's true. Even the Lakers would be fine.
No.
And that travel-wise would be super simple for both sides.
Yeah.
So that's what we've got so far from the schedule. So we learned this week a couple of the preseason games that the Suns will be playing in, and we have the opening night schedule now. Suns at Golden State Warriors. It's getting close. And I think we all are in agreement that we can't wait for the season to be here. This offseason has not been nearly as fun as last offseason with the whole KD drama. There's been very little drama for the most part.
We've made our own drama, Denver.
This offseason for the Suns. But today what we're going to do is take a look around the league. As we have talked about on the show, more outlets are starting to create power rankings for this upcoming NBA season. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to start with 21 through 30. We'll talk about some of the notable additions and subtractions and just kind of how we're feeling about each team. I think we're all in agreement. Emma, you can put the graphic up, that we probably have similar thoughts as far as who's in the bottom third of the league. Yes?
Yeah, I think so. You look at our lists here, and we were either Wizards or Pistons for the very bottom of the pile, and then there's a little bit of variety, but I feel like we have like basically the same 10 teams in 21 through 30. I don't think there's anybody. Yeah, no. we all have the same 10 teams.
I mean, it's not all that far apart.
I mean, we could start with 30. We don't have to go through every single team if you guys don't want to, or we can.
I mean,
I've got the Pistons at 30. You guys both have the Wizards at 30, and then I have the Wizards at 29. You both have the Pistons at 29.
So we agree bottom two teams.
Yes.
With
Interchangeable. I will say this with a caveat. It's where we sit now. I could see the Pistons being better than the sum of their parts, right? I think with Monty there, you're going to get a culture bounce. We've seen that firsthand. Some of these young guys could develop a little faster than expected. They could be higher up in this bottom tier before it's all said and done. But where we're sitting now, they're bottom two for me.
I do think it's important to know, like, obviously they were a 17-win team last year, and that's terrible, but they only got 12 games out of Cade Cunningham, and like all the buzz coming out of like the Team USA scrimmages with the select team or whatever is that Cade has looked really good. I think having him healthy hopefully will be a difference maker for them. You talked about adding Monty. They also added another veteran shooter with Joe Harris. And I think another year under the belts of Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren will help them too. Sure. They got a nice little young core. They're still going to be a losing team. They're still going to be a young team. But the Wizards worry me just because their best players are now Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Poole, and Tyus Jones. And like they barely won 35 games last year when they had Kristaps and Bradley Beal. So I feel like they're in for a rough year this year.
Definitely. The Pistons definitely have more potential to grow. I think the Wizards, this is the start of the rebuild, if you will, for them. So the Pistons technically do have a young core that they can start developing. The Wizards still got moves that need to be made.
Yeah.
But either way, both teams are not going to have a great time this season.
Yeah, I kind of tiered these out a little bit in my list. Like I have it's always darkest before the dawn in the 27 through 30 on here, which is my Charlotte, Portland, Detroit, and Washington. It's like this is the bad. This is the very dark place that they're all in. Yeah. And we've been there. We remember this group, and we always hoped that the better times were right around the corner. So darkest before the dawn with this group.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I had the Spurs, I think, lower than you guys at 28. Where did you guys have yours?
I have the Spurs at 27, so not too far off.
Okay.
I have them in my whoa living on a prayer group here, which is 21 through 26, and they're 26. San Antonio, so not that far off from you.
I'm fascinated by how you arrived on your tiers.
Well, I mean, this one's easy.
Yeah.
There's no chance in hell these teams are going to be any good.
That's fair.
From 22 to 26, So
yeah.
I mean, listen, you can't count the Spurs out. Wemby did just get the highest rookie rating on NBA 2K of all time at an 84. So
it's also his weight. Like, dude is skinny. He need bulk up a little bit.
No, the Spurs definitely have an uphill battle, but things will be fun for that franchise. Just having Pop work with Wemby and what could potentially come from all of that.
Oh, yeah,
it's an exciting time for them, but I don't anticipate them doing a whole lot.
Yeah, there's hope there. I think they're slightly better than they were last year, just because of Wemby being there, and Pop's rejuvenated. He's got his next generational big man. He's got his 5-year extension. So I think they'll be better than they were last year, but not too much.
I am curious about that because they traded Jakob Poeltl like midseason to the Raptors, and now they had been looking for a center to start along Wemby, so he's not having to log heavy minutes at the 5. And I guess that's just going to be Zach Collins. And then in terms of offseason additions, other than Wemby, like Campaign, Reggie Bullock, okay, but not moving the needle anyway. So I think it'll be another developmental slow year for them probably.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, for me, it's more about Charlotte and Portland. I mean, granted, if Portland makes the Dame deal, being worse this year than the Spurs being significantly better.
Those two teams are kind of question marks for me. For like the Blazers, like they went 27-31 last year with a healthy Damian Lillard, and they were 6-18 without him. So I feel like their offseason, they didn't really do much to get better. Like they signed Jeremy Grant to that ridiculous contract. Obviously, they drafted Scoot. Scoot is good, but is he a difference maker
immediately
to get you out of the bottom basement? I don't think so.
Not if you deal Dame, definitely.
Right.
Not.
And I think as soon as you deal Dame, like this is one of the worst teams in the league. So I put them at 27 because I don't really know where to put them. And then same with the Hornets because like they're a super young team, not a lot of additions. They only got 36 games out of LaMelo Ball, and they will be slightly better because they will have Miles Bridges back. And as gross as that whole situation is, he will help them on the court strictly from a basketball perspective, but they're just not a very good team either.
Yeah, so. I had 27 for Charlotte, 28 for Portland. So
I think 26, 27, and 28, we had all the same three teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then when you look at Portland too, you got to kind of figure out like, if Dame does stay at the start of the season, will he be there by the end of the season?
Right.
Or do we have a Kevin Durant style deadline kind of thing happen?
And how will he be playing? Because like he's clearly not going to be happy if he's still on the roster by the start of the season. That type of thing like breeds turmoil and discontent on a roster. And he had one of his best individual seasons last year, but they still were a losing team with him on the court. So like if he's not playing at that ultra high level, if some of this trade angst is seeping into his play, like they're going to be even worse. So I don't know.
Yeah. And then 21 through 25, again, we all pretty much have the exact same, some variation of the Bulls, the Jazz, the Raptors, the Magic, and the Rockets.
Okay.
Do you want to know what the next tier is?
What's your tier?
It's, whoa, we're halfway there. It works better when you go in the other direction.
It does. I get what you're going for. What do we think about the Rockets? Because I think I had them a little bit lower than you guys. I had them at 25.
I have them at 25 as well.
I have them at 23.
Okay.
Look, Fred VanVleet's going to give them a little bit of a bump.
Right.
You hope.
Udoka.
Jock's there too. That is a guy that could surprise a little bit for them. Their youth hopefully will take another step. I don't think they're in the conversation for anything, but I think they're better than they were.
Yeah, I think they're slightly better. I think the Dylan Brooks addition, I would be higher on them if it weren't for that. Yeah. And not just because the contract was really big, but he was not like a positive for the Grizzlies at all last year. And I don't know how injecting a personality like that is going to affect the younger guys, especially when you have a new head coach trying to like build things up. I don't know. I do like the Fred VanVleet pickup, but VanVleet's a good player. He was on a Raptors team that wasn't very good last year either. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I guess all you could hope for is that they've had conversations. Maybe Dylan Brooks was a little bit spicier in Memphis for other reasons.
Maybe. I don't.
And maybe a change of scenery.
Yeah. I mean, he's been spicy since Oregon, probably
before
that. So
good luck with that.
Maybe they felt like they needed something like that. And they thought that Brooks was what brought that to them.
Could be.
I don't know.
Where did you guys have Chicago?
I had them 21.
21.
Okay, I had them at 22.
Yeah.
Can we stop pretending Chicago's a thing? Like, this is a lot of people. I'm not trying to burn down another city in our group,
Are you
but
sure?
But like
You
He's
hear
2 for
about
2
that?
out of
No,
our
but look,
All-City
okay,
partners.
look, I look at it and I'm like, okay, the Bulls are that team that gets caught in basketball purgatory.
Yes.
They're not good enough to be in the conversation for a title. They're in this weird, are they a play-in team? Are they not kind of thing? And that is the worst place for fans. I feel for our CHGO Bulls guys.
I love our CHGO
You know,
Bulls.
Oh, I do
guys.
too.
They're
I mean,
the sweetest.
So, I mean, honestly, this is more coming out of a place of I feel bad for them because they're locked in this we can't get anywhere situation.
I mean, they did add Javon Carter and Torrey Craig. So there's something for them to at least be happy about in terms of new faces on the squad.
He was. I mean, they were a top. I don't know if people know this. They were a top 5 defense last year, which is insane.
And Javon
that their
Carter
offense was
adds
that
to
bad.
that.
Yeah, Javon Carter adds to that. Torrey Craig adds to that. I think they can help with the 3-point shooting if Torrey Craig's 3-point shooting holds up, which historically it hasn't outside of Phoenix.
And inevitably, sometime later this year, we'll send them some of our guys in exchange for Torrey Craig.
Trade for Torrey Craig again. That'll be great.
You know.
We'll trade our Monty Kamara, the future Torrey
Lord have
Craig,
mercy.
for the current Torrey Craig.
Oh man.
I also probably put him a little bit high because I'm not gonna lie. Surprise, surprise. My emotions did kind of affect the way that I put these things, and I just want Chicago to have one nice thing for a little bit.
They were a play-in team last year, so it's not like
They almost beat Miami.
They almost beat Miami, who went on to make it to the finals. So, I mean, they're not terrible. They're just not good. So I think they'll be kind of near that range. I think I'm lower on the Utah Jazz than you guys are, though. I think I have them at 24.
I have them at 22.
I have them at 21.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really care about Utah.
Well, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that no one does. But
Yeah, I mean, their team's much like their city. Nobody cares.
I don't care.
Look, I like Agbaji, but like, how does John Collins fit in that front court now? Because like they already had Lauri Markkanen, they already had Walker Kessler. So is he going to come off the bench? And if he does, like, it's just a very front court heavy team because their guards are Agbaji, Colin Sexton, and Jordan Clarkson, and that's not going to get it done in the West.
Or are you playing Lauri Markkanen at a small forward
Yikes.
position along those guys? Like, yeah, it's a roster that doesn't make sense, but I think there's a reason. I still think that Danny Ainge is in asset accumulation before he figures out what he really wants to do. He didn't expect Lauri Markkanen to be who he is.
Yeah,
he kind of dumb lucked into that, and maybe in a way that hurt them in what they were trying to accomplish. Because everything that pointed to, they were trying to tank last year originally.
Right. That was what everyone thought anyway.
And they came out of the gate so hot, in part because of Markkanen, that now it's like, okay, well, again, they're one of those purgatory teams, but they're a team that I think at least has a plan to get their way out of it. So I think they're okay, but who cares?
I think they're due for some regression because they came out of the gates like guns blazing last year, and then they were like, "Oh shit, what are we doing? We don't want to make the playoffs," and then things change.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've got Orlando Magic and the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, for the Raptors, losing Van Vliet was probably a big deal for them. They did get Dennis Schroeder, but not on the same level.
No.
Whatsoever. I think they're going to not have a super fun year either.
I don't know what the hell they're doing, to be honest with you. Like, they picked up Jakob Poeltl midseason when everyone thought they were going to be dumping guys to get worse. And that's a move you make to, like, try and get better because that team needed a center for years. And then, like, now Van Vliet's gone. You might be trading away Pascal Siakam or OG Anunoby. Like, I genuinely don't know what they're going to do, but because of all that uncertainty and because you went from Van Vliet to Schroeder, you got to be a little bit worse this year.
Yeah, this team is the quintessential fire sale at the deadline kind of team. Or at any point you get the offer you're hoping for. Because it sounds like Atlanta's in on Siakam. They made a pretty good offer, but Toronto's like, yeah, but we're going to ask for that next level, and I think eventually they'll get to the point where like, we're going nowhere and we can get quality return here. We'll do it. So I think that's kind of that's why I have them at 25. That's kind of their life cycle. I think we have a super chat though. Should we check that out? Super chat from Brian says, Espo, don't sleep on the Balzac trio. Oh my God.
He read it out loud.
Now I know why Lindsay texted me and asked if I'd read the damn super chat.
Sorry.
I'm a big fan of the DeBalzac. It's a hell of a duo.
You had seen it. I'm sorry. That was Brian.
Actually, is that a trio or a duo? I don't know.
He just pulled a Ron Burgundy. That was great.
Sorry, Espo. I thought you had
Burgundy.
seen it, but I didn't. I wasn't trying to like set you up. I was just trying to
bullshit.
pass.
I looked down with the text. Hey, can you read the super chat? Yeah, I got this.
That's hilarious.
Sorry.
Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks.
Oh man.
But again, it's better coming from you than me.
Well, yeah,
It definitely is.
it's less embarrassing for me to do it. So.
Exactly. I appreciate you.
Oh man.
Brian,
Brian, you're on
dead to me.
timeout.
That was pretty good.
Be careful. All right. And then the last one we'll talk about is the Orlando Magic. Gerald, you had him at 22. Espo and I had him at 24.
Mm-hmm.
They've got young guys, and the back half of the season for them last year was pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered. So there's some hope there.
They need to put something together. Like they've got the young players. They should have continuity and internal growth on their side. I like some of their younger guys. I am curious, like, okay, they added Joe Ingles. They added the rookie Anthony Black, who I like. I think is Jonathan Isaac ever going to be able to play more than 10 to 15 games in a season?
no.
Probably not. I think that matters. But I do like Franz Wagner. I do like Wendell Carter Jr. Like they've got some good pieces.
They've got pieces, but I don't know.
It's never come together for them.
Well, yeah, I don't know what they are. Like, it's like fantasy basketball where there's accumulation of guys that are good, but like, do they work as a group? Is this
like, can they win?
Yeah. Does anybody look at that and go, that's the foundation of a next great team? No, I don't think they do. So, like, again, another team, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish right now. So,
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
I love Paolo, though.
Huh?
yeah.
I love
do.
Paolo.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's fun.
Yeah,
for
he'll
them.
look great in a Knicks uniform in a few years when he forces his way out.
Oh, no. Listen, our friends over at Wink have a really fantastic product that if you have not heard of or you have not tried, you are absolutely missing out. Wink created a seltzer with just a wink of THC, and it's got like the perfect THC to CBD balance because there's an equal dose of CBD in these. That's balanced, it's light, it's social, bubbly, both in the actual drink and what it does to you. It makes you bubbly enough to be able to work the room, keep things a little bit light, but you still have your wits about you. There are no third-party producers. Wink is made in-house with 0 calorie, sugar, or alcohol, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you, I've been drinking these before the show a lot. Just people might not guess this, but I actually tend to be a very nervous person. I've got a lot of anxiety, especially even we've been doing this 2 years. I still get nervous before we go on the show, especially when I decide to call out one of the cities that our CEO works in.
Sure.
So I have been taking Wink right before the show, and I think it's added a little something extra. I think when I'm spicy, Wink, all right?
So there, who I have to blame?
No,
for this.
No.
It's smoother.
If anything, it keeps him from going too far off the rails.
It gives I'm smoother in my delivery when I bring that now.
And Wink is also available in either 2.5 milligram or 5 milligram cans, and you can find Wink right here in Arizona. So look for Wink at all Sunday Goods dispensaries in the Valley and Botanica Gardens in Tucson. They're also now in 12 states nationwide and even recently launched online ordering and home delivery to about a dozen others. So to find the fastest way to get your hands on one, just go to drinkwink.com, and that is Wink spelled with a Y. Also, our friends over at BetMGM are cooking up some great stuff for the upcoming football season. PHNX Cardinals and BetMGM are going to be hosting a lot of really cool things, so you don't want to miss out on the action. Sign up for BetMGM and make sure when you sign up, you're using that promo code PHNX, because depending on where you live, there's a few different offers that they have available for you. But for our Arizona audience, you place your first bet offer and you'll receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. if it loses. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now you can listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-522-4700 Nevada. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Kansas, Nevada, New York, or Ontario.
Look, I don't ask you people for a lot, but I'm going to not you guys. I'm talking directly to our listeners and our viewers. But we are trying to beat the PHNX Coyote show in terms of BetMGM signups.
Okay.
So please go right now and sign up using that code PHNX during our show so we can tell that we're the ones that drove you there, because they're bragging about all the people that they're getting to sign up, and I'm sick of it. All right, so please help us out.
I wish I would have known about this before I wore my Coyote shirt today on the show.
I don't dislike
I look like a
them.
double
I
agent
just,
now.
you're just screwing us. I see how it is.
Way to go, Gerald.
Sorry, guys.
Whose team are you even on?
Sorry, guys.
All right, let's look at 11 through 20 on the ranking. Do you guys want to go from 20 up or do you want to go 11 down?
Let's go 20 up.
Okay.
20 up.
Let's just
We've
keep
been going
going.
that route.
All right, so 20, 19, 18, probably 20 and 19, same-ish teams. Not really.
Pretty similar. I think Espo is
Espo.
lower on the Thunder. He's got them 19, but
Yeah.
I got the Hawks 20, Pacers 19. Lindsay, you got the Pacers 20, Hawks at 19, and Espo has the Pacers at 20. So let's do the Pacers since they're both in our bottom two there. I really like Tyrese Halliburton. I have liked him for years. Watching him turn into freaking Magic Johnson for the Pacers was really cool. They added Bruce Brown, and say what you will about that contract, but like, he's a good player who will help them. I am curious how much help they added, because even though they have Miles Turner, even though they added Bruce Brown, like, they were a bottom 5 defense last year, and they need to turn that around. And I don't know if they made enough significant changes to really change that.
No, and they've perpetually been trying to get rid of Miles Turner.
Yeah.
Like, how
Bless
long
his
is he
heart.
actually gonna be there? Plus, you got to live in Indiana, which is already a knock on anybody there. But again, I like Tyrese Halliburton. Was Brown
Happy
that
for
great
Bruce
of a
Brown.
great? He got his money, but does that make them significantly better? Another team. I'm like, okay, thanks guys, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts on them. All I know is I hope that whatever connection that we've had with the Pacers in the past is long gone. I'm kind of over that at this point. Like, can we just not?
But can we talk about whether Jalen Smith is a 4 or a 5 again?
Yeah, he's the fourth or fifth center on their roster. Yes,
My heart.
He is
My
the
heart.
fourth center on the roster.
Yes,
That's right.
there you go.
How about the Hawks? Because I feel like they are basically the same team as last year, except without John Collins. I don't know when things are going to change for them until Trae Young is not a complete liability on defense. Like, I loved the DeJounte Murray pickup last summer, but it didn't really pay dividends in the win column. And like, I'm sorry, but Wes Matthews, Patty Mills being your biggest offseason pickups, not really moving the needle much for me.
Yeah, no, I don't think they did anything in particular, but I also think they're a team set up to make another move. Like I mentioned, the Pascal Siakam thing.
Right.
I don't think they're very good as they are constituted right now, but I think there's a chance that they make a move that makes them better as we go along this season. So
I feel like they're going to have to at some point, right? Like, unless they do, it's probably just more of what we've already seen. Same old, same old.
Yeah.
So
Well, enough failure. The talk's going to be, is Trae the guy? Do we keep Trae, or
Right.
is that the guy we move to get assets we need?
And I feel like it's kind of already starting, because which is weird because it was just a couple years ago he took them to the conference finals, like decimated the entire city of New York. But it was also a couple years ago now, and it's starting to look like, okay, can we win with you being our best player? Not sure. I think Trae is phenomenal on offense, and defensively, you got to have the right pieces around him to make up for some of his flaws there.
Okay, so the next team we'll talk about is the Oklahoma City Thunder, because, Espo, you have them much lower than Gerald and I do. So you have them listed at 19. Gerald and I both have them at 15. Are you not bought in?
No.
On OKC?
No, look, they're a prove-it team for me.
Okay.
And I
That's
get
fair.
it, Theo. They're all their pieces are going to be there, but they're still so young, and there's so much that goes into that, and the learning, and all that. I will buy into them after I see it click a little bit, after I know that these guys can stay healthy in OKC. Like, I like a lot of their pieces, and of the young teams that we've talked about and around the league, it's the team that I see eventually fitting together the best and having success. I'm just not ready to commit to it being this year yet. Especially, this is a preseason ranking, right? So we're just looking at it based on what did you do for me last year, what did you do in the offseason. I think 19's about right for him right now.
Yeah, and Shea did have to play at a really high level, like 30 points per game scorer, for them to be a 40-win team and make the play-in, but didn't make the playoffs, obviously. I do think adding Chet will help them defensively. Like, I think he's maybe a little bit underrated in terms of him being able to come in and make an impact. I do like the Davis Bertans and Victor Oladipo pickups as well.
Oladipo's a little injury prone, though, which is a concern.
He is, but he can help even if he's out there for 20 to 50 games, whatever it might be. Like, he'll help a little bit, I think. And they are a young group that was like close to making the playoffs last year, so I do think they'll have that kind of natural growth this year a little bit.
Do you think Shea can play at the close to the level he was last year?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he played with his hair on fire, really. I know it's a lame term, but...
No, he did, but it didn't feel like unsustainable. Like, it felt like he was just hooping. Like, that's kind of who he is. It didn't feel like he was going above and beyond and doing things he couldn't do again this year. So, which is kind of scary for the rest of the league if that is the case.
Yeah, they're one of the teams I look at and I go, yeah, they're probably going to be much higher eventually on my list. But
they're definitely going to, in my opinion, I think they'll make a jump from last season. How high remains to be seen, but there'll definitely be improvement.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of variation here. Gerald, Espo, and I all have the Brooklyn Nets within 18 and 17. I have them at 18. You guys both have them at 17. How are we feeling about the Brooklyn Nets and our guys, Mikal and Cam?
They're a team that I'm really excited to watch and see how it all fits together, but I'm being a little more cautious in terms of projecting where they're going to be in the East because, as much as they were, I think, the 5th seed in the East, they also went 9-13 after the Kevin Durant trade. And like they were 0-4 in the playoffs, got swept. I think Mikal can be a number one guy, but whether they have the right pieces around him and whether being the number one guy can contribute to a upper tier playoff team, like that's going to take a while. We've seen a lot of other stars struggle to figure that out. And I think Mikal will get there. But like, can Cam Johnson stay healthy? Can Spencer Dinwiddie play better than he did after he got traded there? Because he was not good for them in the playoffs. There's still a lot of question marks with this group. Yeah,
I think you hit the nail on the head. My questions about them are not what can Mikal do. It's how are these other pieces enough to make a sustainable winner? Even a team hovering around that 500, a little bit better, and in that play-in conversation, that's a lot to ask of Spencer Dinwiddie, who isn't that guy anymore. I mean, I'm not sure he ever was, but he definitely isn't right now that guy. Cam, we love him, but can he stay healthy? He got the bag, but can he stay healthy? That's a big if there in Brooklyn. So again, this may be another team where you look back and they've moved up because they hit that prove it level and you're like, okay, I buy it, but I haven't seen enough, and what I did see wasn't world beaters. So.
Okay, 2 things. Cam playing without his undershirt, weird. Super weird. I was like, wait, what's happening here? Yep. Mikal, Jay in the chat said Mikel's first All-Star game this year. You guys think we'll see Mikal?
I think
at
so.
All-Star weekend?
I think so.
I'd kind of be surprised if we didn't, with how much popularity he's gained over the last however few months.
Playing for Team USA will help too.
Yeah.
And I think as long as they're not like a bottom team in the East, I think he's got a legitimate All-Star case.
I think even if they are, but he's playing at near the level he was at the end of last year, and the fact that it's Brooklyn, you're going to get just the New York bump, the East Coast bump. Yeah, I think he'll probably be an All-Star.
All right, next up, let's go Pelicans and then Dallas. So for Pelicans, I have them at 17. Espo has them at 16. Gerald, yours is 14. So we'll start
Yes.
with the Pelicans. How are we feeling about these guys?
I'll let you guys go first since you're a little bit lower on them than I am.
It's all about Zion.
Mhm.
Is he healthy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can he play? I mean, even Ingram to a certain extent, can he stay healthy?
Yeah.
Those are my big questions with them. Like, if they are, they're better than the 16th team
Mhm.
in the league. But again, we haven't seen it. We have not seen Zion be able to play for any significant amount of time. And this team, I think, will be heavily predicated on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really just the biggest question mark is the health
Mhm.
right there. And and then when you kind of have a player of that caliber coming in and out too, that throws your team for a loop as well, as far as just finding any sort of real rhythm.
Right. And it definitely does with him in particular, because like you said, with any star caliber player, you have to adjust with them versus without them. But him in particular, because he's not like, a super capable 3-point shooter at this point in his career. And he is a guy that spends a lot of his time attacking the rim on the interior. So you kind of have to tailor a major part of your scheme around a guy with that type of talent. But I'm just going with luck here that the Pelicans do stay healthy. They were on a 48 win pace last season when he was healthy. They were the number 1 team in the West for the first 2 months. And just looking at his seasons, his rookie or his first year that he actually played, 24 games. The year after that, 61. Last year, 29. So maybe it's just alternating. Maybe next year he'll play 60 some games again.
Evens and odds.
Yeah,
It's all right.
Taking turns.
I honestly, if they're healthy, I think they're even better than the 14th
Right.
best team
I do too.
in this league.
It's just a big if.
It's
It
hard to
really is
gauge
a
them.
big if.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I err on the side of caution with them.
Healthy, honestly, they scare me in the West.
Oh yeah.
So
Because they're
they're
still a physical team. They're still a
super
good
scrappy,
team.
yeah.
And they're still young. They've still got Herb Jones and all these guys that can defend. Trey Murphy is going to be good. So
tough defensive matchup, for if you're a team trying to go up against them healthy too. So.
yeah.
Ooh, we're into my favorite tier now.
All right. What's this one
7 through 15 for me is called "You Ain't a Beauty, but Hey, You're All Right."
No.
Oh my
Well,
God.
technically, this next team you have at 16, but Gerald has at 16. You have at 15.
Which
My
team?
bad, Espo. And I have at 14, and that is the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
So now that we're getting towards the higher side of the things, I do have odds, championship odds from BetMGM for some of these squads.
Okay.
So Dallas is a plus 2,000
Okay.
as of yesterday. So if it changed overnight, you can't come for me.
Okay. No, that's fair. So here's the thing. I like some of the moves they made in the offseason. I do think they needed some help on defense. Grant Williams helps you there. Shooting, Seth Curry is a nice pickup for them. But they still haven't really figured out the center spot because they still have JaVale McGee, Maxi Kleba, Dwight Powell, and then they drafted Derek Lively the second. I think he could be good, but he's still a rookie. And Luka and Kyrie went 5 and 11 together when they were on the court.
And not to mention, they just kind of quit.
Right. That
At the end of
obviously
last
that part of it was intentional, but
but still,
and they
not a great
posted a
look.
good net rating with those two together, but do they have enough help around those two to make up for being the 25th best defense last year? I don't know.
And it almost feels like an inevitability that eventually those two won't like each
The
other.
butt heads.
Lucas seems to have a very tough time getting along with whoever they dub the number 2 on his team. But this just seems like an oil and water kind of matchup, or pairing here. I wouldn't bet your mortgage payment on them winning a championship, let alone my own, right? I just, look, Luka will do Luka things, be a whiny baby, score a lot of points, get some assists,
And they'll win
have
some
your
games.
triple doubles. They'll win some because of him. They'll lose some because of certain antics. I don't know what to expect from Kyrie. Plus, look, politically, he's in Texas, all right? You can't tell me that something is going to be said there that doesn't cause a storm at some point.
Yeah.
With it. No, regardless of how you feel politically, I just feel like that's, again, an oil and water mix between those two. So,
and we talk about Zion and all these other guys, can they stay healthy? Kyrie Irving played 60 games last year, so even in one of his more healthy seasons in recent years, he still missed 22 games. The season before that, he played 29, 54, 20. the guy hasn't been able to stay healthy since he left Boston. So that could be an issue where they're having to just have Luka do everything like always because his co-star isn't available.
Yeah, mentally and physically. I
Right.
mean, that's it. I don't mean that as a joke. I literally
You
he
don't
missed
know
time
what to
do that,
expect
so you
from
don't
him.
know what to expect. Dallas seems like a team that could either wind up in the top 5 at the end of the season or
Yeah.
the bottom 5.
Right.
Like it's the quintessential boomer bust with them.
All right, next up, this one was kind of a little bit all over the place as well. Minnesota Timberwolves. I have them at 16. Espo, you have them at 13, and Gerald, you have them at 18. So quite a bit of variation with the Timberwolves for us. They are a plus 6,600 on the BetMGM app.
I still have them as probably a playoff team, and I think they obviously need to stay healthy, but like I'm just not sold on that Karl Anthony Towns, Gobert, Naz Reid situation. Like they're another front court heavy team, and they were a top 10 defense. They had problems staying healthy last year, so I feel like if that changes, maybe they're a little bit higher, but like their spacing doesn't work to me. Like Gobert and Cat in the same front court, it just didn't look good.
Prediction for me.
What's that?
They're the team that helps facilitate the Dame Lillard deal,
Okay.
and they break up that logjam.
Okay.
It's just a feeling I have.
The what deal? Sorry.
The Dame Lillard deal
Oh,
eventually.
okay.
That they're part that Dame won't be in Minnesota.
Right,
don't get
right,
me wrong,
yeah.
but they'll help facilitate it and get some assets for one of those bigs. But I like Ant.
Yeah,
that much.
he's going to be
I
fun.
do.
He had
You
a
know,
great year last year
Say
for
what
himself.
say what you will about Cat, but the dude still finds a way to put the ball in the hoop. Yeah, they don't make a lot of sense together, but Gobert is still one of the best rim protectors that you see. So it's an odd. I look at it and I go, again, you ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right. It somehow you get wins with that group, and I don't know how, but I think they still do it this year.
You ain't a beauty, but you're all right.
This beer goggles tier of yours.
I love it.
Can you name the song?
No.
I will love you forever.
You've
if you
told
can-
us this one before, I feel
I
like.
feel like you have.
It's Thunder Road by Bruce Springsteen. You know, or
Yes.
You've told us this one
The
before.
boss.
All right, next up, let's talk about the New York Knicks. I have them at 13. I suppose got them at 14. Gerald has them at 12. BetMGM has them at a plus 5,000.
I don't know. I think maybe I'm a little too high on the Knicks, but
Yes.
I like the Dante DiVincenzo ad. They were a good team last year. Number 4 offense in the league. Like Jalen Brunson is legit. I think if they get more out of RJ Barrett, they'll be good. Julius Randle, it feels like he's been alternating like great seasons and poor seasons. So maybe we're due for a poor one. I don't know.
Are you just sticking with that these guys are just an alternating schedule?
Well, he has though. Like he had a fantastic year a couple of years ago, like completely wilted in the playoffs when they lost to the Hawks, and then like a bad year, and then last year was a kind of a bounce back year. I feel like so. I genuinely don't know what to expect from him, but I think they'll be a good team.
I think that's the thing that we've seen a lot, actually, when you're looking at all the rankings that have come out so far for this upcoming season. The Knicks can go, they move around a lot. Like there's been plays, I've seen them at 9 in the top 10. I've seen them 16, 15. So I think there's a lot of just movement around the Knicks and what people are expecting.
The Knicks are gonna Knicks. All right. Never trust the New York Knicks. I do not believe in that franchise. They are the Phoenix Suns under the disgraced former owner. This team will not accomplish anything this season. I do not trust the New York Knicks.
I mean, they might not accomplish anything, but they still had the 8th best record in the league last year. Like it only took 47 wins to do that. So I don't.
So that's
Like, I have
that's
them
on everybody else in the league.
Well, I have them at 12, and that I feel like that's regression compared to where they finished. So I don't know.
I have them at 14, and I feel dirty putting them that high on the list. So.
All right. And then the next team that we'll talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies, because we all have them in this same category of the 11 through 20. And then after that, we got a little bit of variation. So BetMGM has the Grizzlies at a plus 2,500. Obviously, they lost Dylan Brooks. They're going to have to deal with the John Morant suspension and all that kind of stuff. But they still will continue to grow.
They're a good team that has historically been able to win games without John Morant. I think you can't say that they're going to be just fine without their best player for 25 games. But I do like the Marcus Smart pickup for them. They were the number 3 defense in the league last year as it was. You add Marcus Smart to that equation, you now have 2 recent Defensive Player of the Year sharing the court together. He can play make as well on the offensive end, so you're not going to be hurting at the point guard spot. I do think losing Tyus Jones will affect them a little bit more during those 25 games when they don't have John Morant, because he was good at running the show without John Morant on the court. I don't know. They're hard to peg because they were a team that maybe that people were comparing to the Suns in terms of a young team that blew up, but they didn't get as far as the Suns, and they crashed a lot harder and quicker than I think the Suns did. So I am curious to see, do they have a bounce back season in them, or did we already kind of see their peak? I don't know.
Yeah. I think they are in the West.
Yeah.
Come on.
Look, Marcus Smart's a nice pickup, but what are you going to get from Ja? How long is he going to be on the court? One more stupid thing he does, and you're missing him for even more time than you already are. Like there's all sorts of things with that team that, again, some nice pieces, but I don't understand how that locker room works. I don't understand, can they hold it together and actually play well? Now, they got rid of Brooks, so that's one less
some drama.
Drama. Yeah, one less piece of drama to deal with. But they're a team that has to come out and really prove it this year.
They need an adult in the room, and I feel like they need Marcus Smart to be that guy.
He's going to be that guy,
So
right?
he's
He
gonna
has
have
to be.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's an option there.
Right.
Okay, next team we'll talk about, and then we're going to move on to the next level, is the Sacramento Kings. And here's why I'm going to make you wait for the Clippers. So you don't have the Sacramento Kings in this 11 through 20. You have the Clippers. Gerald and I have the Kings. Mine is at 12. Yours is at 13. And we both have the Clippers in the 1 through 10 category.
I mean, you guys are allowed to
So
be
we'll
wrong.
talk about the Sacramento Kings first, and we'll talk about the Clippers in the next round. BetMGM has the Kings at a plus 5,000. I expect the Kings still to be exciting to watch. I think it'll be good for their fan base, but I don't know that they're going to jump.
I think I might have them a little bit too low here at 13. I'll admit that. I even put that in my notes when I was doing these rankings. But I think they're a team that could be due for some regression just because maybe the rest of the West stays healthier or gets better or is not, caught off guard by this team that's actually legitimately good. So I think they might regress a little bit. All they did was kind of add Chris Duarte. They brought Harrison Barnes back, which is good, but I don't know. They were the NBA's number 1 offense last year, so that's really good for them, going for them. I don't know if they'll be able to repeat that same thing this year.
I mean, I guess you could give it a shot, right? If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe.
Light the damn beam.
Light the beam.
All right.
They do have the beam on their side.
This
That is
group
true.
is young. They made a lot of their big moves over the last couple of years to rework that roster. They came out and they played very well last year. They got the experience in the playoffs to start. I think this team continues to play well. Now, will they be, second, third in the West? Probably not, but I think that they are still in that top 5 discussion in the Western Conference. And can they grow? Again, that's a big question with a lot of these teams with youth. Can they grow? I think they can. I like this team.
This is going back to the Grizzlies, but Gilbert said Steven Adams is the most adult-looking man in the world. Where's he been?
That is true.
He's been injured, right? Yeah.
That was a cute comment, though. I enjoyed that for sure. All I know is if you are feeling any type of way about the upcoming season, which I don't think you should, but in case you are, our friends over at OG's, they've got your back. And if you've been asking, like, what kind of gummies should I get or what flavor is the best flavor? Well, OG's took the guesswork out of it. I'm talking about their mixed bags. You got both the fruits and the creams. So we're talking red apple, watermelon peach, blackberries and cream, orange creamsicle, and peaches and cream. And of course, the mixed bag is great because you can pick whichever type of OGs you want as well. They've got a couple different variations of the mixed bag. I think they've got like the sativa and the indica. Both options available for you. So we highly recommend you check out our friends over at OG's. You can find them online at ogsbrands.com. You can find them on Instagram at ogsbrands. And of course, you can find them at your local dispensary. but you have to be 21 years or older to purchase.
I love getting my watermelon sugar high from our OG's friends. So, anyways,
that was
continue.
cute. I'm not gonna lie.
You're better than that, Liz.
Gerald, you have no room to talk, sir.
Oh my God.
Especially after
I
yesterday's
have the
show.
most room to talk.
No, you do not. Listen, our friends over at Illegal Pete's, they are the place to go if you are looking for burritos, bowls, tacos, delicious margaritas, or just some nice queso. It always comes out hot and it is very delicious. Illegal Pete's is your go-to spot this summer. They've got happy hour every single day from 3 to 8 p.m. at all 12 locations. The one we go to most often is the one in Tempe. It seems like we're in Tempe a lot these days. We got a bunch of really cool partners in Tempe, and Illegal Pete's is one of them. They are your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer, and they have been for 28 years. So stop by, check them out, and enjoy a nice meal. That is Illegal Pete's.
Yeah, and if you don't have any buddies like me, you still can go get burritos.
That's
and beer,
facts.
so.
You can get it to go if you want
Yeah,
to.
like if you're lonely and like to be in the dark, go get it to go. It's fine.
Honestly, you could do one of their order delivery type things, which is fun because I've told you guys this before, but they have the chip box turns into a basketball hoop.
That's a lonely night if you have ordered that giant chip box and all that food
By
for
yourself.
yourself. I have no buddies, but I have all these burritos.
Queso solo.
Did you just say? What did you just say?
Queso solo.
Gerald.
What?
Listen, I'm just letting Espo get away with everything just because I'm going straight for you.
Gerald, you could have gone that's queso sad.
I mean, you could have. You could have. There's
Unreal.
so many things we could do in this life. But should we? Just because we can, does that mean we should?
No.
That's the question I need
We
you both
shouldn't.
to ask yourself from here on out.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk 1 through 10. I think we should start with the Clippers because Espo had the Clippers at 11 on his list. I've got them at 9. Gerald has them at 8. Espo, you want to start with why you had the Clippers so low?
They're never healthy.
I think that's
Like,
fair.
look, you want to act like you're one of the big boys in the league. You go, oh, look at this roster. Yeah, well, if everything was played on paper, the Suns would have a hell of a lot more banners than the 0 they have in their arena. Games aren't played on paper. Nobody cares who's on your roster if they're hurt. And that's the Clippers. They're not in my top 10 because they got to actually show up on the court. And enough with the load management bullshit, too. Actually play the games. Actually be out there and get yourself playing at a level where you can compete for this supposed championship that you were built for. Until then, they're not in my top 10. They won't be.
Listen, I don't blame you, but don't count PG out. He on his bully shit this year.
Yeah,
Remember?
that's great.
Paul George is on his bully shit this year.
He beat himself up. Like,
Stop.
No.
I don't know. The Clippers are a tough one for me because I feel like they're going to be around where they were last year, like 5 or 6 in the West. And that's kind of where I've got them on my list. I think that I have them 4th, but that's mostly just because I feel like the Kings are going to regress to the mean a little bit. The Grizzlies are missing their best player for 25 games. And like the Warriors, we'll talk about them, but like I'm not crazy about the fit there with what they did this summer. So I just kind of naturally have the Clippers a little bit higher than I might, and giving them the benefit of the doubt because when those two are healthy, like they are good. I do like the KJ Martin pickup for them as well.
Also, the Clippers are plus 1,800 on the BetMGM Sportsbook app.
Mhm.
All right, next up, we all have the Cleveland Cavaliers at 10. So they made some jumps. They made some steps. They're on the right path. And I think they'll continue down that path for sure.
Ricky Rubio stepping away from mental health, I think, is a hit to their bench, obviously. But this team was intriguing last year, and I think they enter with a lot of the same intrigue this year. Is Donovan Mitchell that guy?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna find
He
out.
had a great season
yeah.
last year for himself.
Yeah, can he come back
Till
and
the
do it and
playoffs.
add to it? Yeah,
Yeah.
He's no Devin Booker. I mean,
I'm just going to say it. Like, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are a good regular season team, and that is it. I don't know if they have that guy. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell is that guy. I think the Cavs might hope that Darius Garland is that guy because he was really good and has been for the last 2 years. But yeah, they're a young core that will continue to get better together. I don't know if their coach has them playoff suited because what happened in that Knicks series was embarrassing. But I think they're a good regular season team.
And the BetMGM Sportsbook app has the Cavs listed at a plus 2,500. Okay, so
Hold
we
on.
talked.
They have the Mavericks at a better.
I think
better
so.
than the Cavs.
I already deleted it, but yeah, I think the Mavs were at 2,000, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
You go ahead and make that bet. I'll take Cleveland over Dallas's chances.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the Clippers. We talked about the Sacramento Kings. Now we got a little bit of variation in here. Where do you guys want to start? Miami, LA, or Golden State?
Let's do LA. No, let's do Miami.
Yeah, let's go
Miami. Okay, so I have Miami at 8. Espo has them at 7, and Gerald has them at 6. BetMGM Sportsbook has them at a plus 1,000.
Can I ask you this, Gerald?
Hmm.
Are you assuming a trade in this, or are you assuming as it stands?
Absolutely.
Then I would have them there at 6,
Yeah.
maybe even 5 if that trade went down.
Yeah.
So if Dame's there, I agree with you. And I gave him a little bit more respect at 7 without Dame than I probably should have. But what they were able to accomplish, what Jimmy Butler was able to do in the playoffs, was enough to earn that respect for me to this point. But yeah, you're 100% right. If Dame's there, they're in that 5-6 range easy.
Yeah.
I just don't know how the Blazers are going to handle the Dame situation that doesn't end in an inevitable, like, fine, we'll do your stupid, terrible trade for Lillard, like, because nobody else is going to want to trade for him if they don't know if he's going to play for them. So
it's always a good GM move when I'll do your stupid,
fine,
terrible trade.
Everyone will hate me, whatever.
Just don't care. Plus, we love Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah,
At least
we do.
I do.
They're going to be, I think, again, they're probably going to be like an average regular season team, playoff team, and then playoff time, Jimmy Buckets turns it on every year.
All right, let's do the Golden State Warriors next. There's a little bit of variation on this one. I have them at 7. Espo has them at 6. Gerald has them at 9. Obviously, I think the biggest question is, how does Chris Paul work on the Warriors? BetMGM has them at a plus 1,200. So not too far off from some of the other people within that area. Do you guys anticipate Chris Paul buying in to potentially coming off the bench or playing with that second unit more?
See, I don't see Chris Paul being the biggest question here. Is Klay Thompson fully back? Is he there as Klay Thompson for the full season? To me, that determines how good they are. Chris Paul, at worst, does, is just there, right? And doesn't do anything special and fine. But if you've got Klay playing the way Klay can, that we've seen him play with Draymond and Steph, I know they're older, they're a step slower, but I don't think Chris Paul is the biggest part of this equation.
Yeah, I don't know. For me,
I think he could definitely elevate that team if he buys into the type of role that they would need from him.
Right.
I think that would give him a major boost in the second unit.
It would. And they're a team that were number 1 in pace last year and dead last in turnovers. So they can definitely use what Chris Paul brings to the table in terms of being able to manage the game. My question is, how do they marry, Chris Paul playing at a slower tempo versus being the fastest team in the NBA? I feel like unless he is in a bench role, that's going to be really tough to bridge that gap there. I think there's too much talent here for it to not work and for them to not be a playoff team. But I don't view them as contenders just yet. I need to see how it works first.
Is he a guy they flip too? Was
Chris
this
Paul?
just we want Jordan Poole out of here so we don't have that locker room strife? But I don't think Chris Paul and the Warrior being on the Warriors come playoff time is a lock.
No,
I
it's
think
not.
that's fair.
And they've had injury concerns aside from the incoming Chris Paul in recent seasons. They're a year older. I think Steph is still a borderline top 5 player in the NBA. He's phenomenal, and he'll carry them to wins all by himself. Draymond's still one of the best defenders in the game, but they are getting older and adding one of the oldest guys who's had a history of not being able to stay healthy. And we don't know whether he's starting or coming off the bench. They have a lot to navigate for sure. And
as the Dead to Me Brian says in the chat, the CP3 curse now falls on GSW. So and that's the truth. I mean, he's never gotten over the hump. Is he going to be able to do it by being 38 and accepting a bench role on the Warriors? I'm going to say no, but
We'll see. Next up, let's talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. I have them at 6. Espo has them at 8. Gerald has them at 7. BetMGM has them at a plus 1,200.
They had a really nice offseason.
They made a lot of moves.
I'm not going to lie. Like, they kept D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and Austin Reeves, and then they added Gabe Vincent, who had a really good run with the Heat in the playoffs, added Taurean Prince, who's a decent two-way wing. Cam Reddish, he's kind of a boomer bust guy. He probably won't help them much, but, like, they still have 2 of the best 20 players in the game with LeBron and AD when they're healthy. That is a big caveat. But they were a conference finals team, and we can talk about how they had more favorable matchups. They didn't have to meet the Nuggets till the conference finals. That's totally fair. But I think they are going to be a decent team as long as their 2 stars stay healthy. So yeah.
Okay, so
that's the big question.
They re-signed D'Angelo Russell, who is a never was in my mind. You've got
he was okay. He was average.
You signed Austin Reeves. All right. All I know about you is you look like the brother from Wedding Crashers. I'm not buying into you. Don't tell me you're him. All right. Show me you're him. Is it,
I mean,
what?
I feel like you're just being a hater right
now.
No,
I'm just not high on the Lakers moves, and everybody's like, they're going to be title contenders. Well, guess what? AD's still made of glass, and LeBron's a year older. All right. And that's the reality with the Lakers.
The other reality with the Lakers is they always somehow find a way to be in the mix.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. It's very rare that we see the Lakers just fully fall out.
And they were a better team after they traded for, Rui and Jared Vanderbilt. They were the best defense in the NBA. They were a good team after the trade deadline. So I don't view them as like legitimate title contenders. I think a lot has to break their way, kind of like last year where they didn't have to play they played a Warriors team that could not win on the road, and they didn't have to face the Nuggets till the conference finals. Like, you get the Nuggets in the first round, I'm sorry, you're going home in the first round. So it's all based on matchup, but I do think they'll be a good team.
I love that I crap on them and I still have them 8.
I know.
It wasn't like I had them at 19. Screw the Lakers. But I think it's just because, again, we got the national storyline. Oh, well, the Lakers are back. They're for real. And I'm like, no, I think the only championship and winning we're going to see them do is on HBO this year.
Oh, boy. All right.
Winning time.
We have entered into the top 5. We all have the Philadelphia 76ers listed at 5 on our list. So let's discuss that. Obviously, I think the biggest question around the 76ers is what's going on with James Harden. He opted in and he hasn't I think that the conversation was that he was behind the scenes at least asking to be moved, but nothing public has come out yet like we've seen with Lillard. So there's a potential he just hangs out in Philly another year. Yeah.
This is my "We're Sexy and We Know It" tier.
Oh, boy.
So I went a little newer age in the music.
There we go.
I like that.
Look, when you have Joel Embiid, as long as he's healthy, you're always going to be in the conversation with this group. Harden, whether he's there or whether they get some kind of piece in return for him, like if it's the Clippers, they're probably getting man. They're not going to just give him away to give him away, right? I think that Daryl Morey has the confidence that he has a good enough relationship with James Harden that if the deal's not there, he can kind of tide that over and he'll come in and play for the 76ers team. I like their mix. And again, if Joel's healthy, you're in the conversation.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go because the James Harden thing's a question mark. They're adding a mercurial personality in Pat Bev.
Pat Bev.
I love that vocab.
Yeah, there we go.
Honestly, Pat Bev fits in Philly though.
He does. He really does.
Like all around.
Because they were a top 8 defense as it was. Like he's gonna bother some people on that end. And they were top 3 offense. Like Joel Embiid was the MVP last year. And adding a new coach in Nick Nurse should really help for a team that was great on both ends. So I do think the Harden thing could throw a wrench in the works, potentially, even if he's not traded. But if he's there and if he's playing at the level he was at last year, like they're still going to be a top 3 team in the East.
And BetMGM has them at a plus 1,600. And that was the last team that was within that tier of teams we just talked about. These next 4, those odds get a lot smaller. And there's a lot of variation on our list here. I think we'll talk Celtics next.
Mhm.
So I have them at 4. Espo's got them at 3. Gerald, you also have them at 4. So I think the Celtics is the next team that we should talk about. Obviously, the biggest move was Kristaps Porzingis. And as we've mentioned on the show before, it's just kind of one of those things we still want to see.
Yeah, it
the
is.
ceiling is higher, but we don't know for sure that it'll be reached.
He gives them a big 3 offensively. He gives them another shot blocker in the middle. But I am curious whether he can stay healthy. And I do think like their number 2 defense from last year is going to take a hit, losing Marcus Smart, losing Grant Williams for basically nothing. Like I think that will matter a little bit. I think offensively he can definitely help them. And they were already the number 2 offense in the NBA. But, you know, I need to see it first before I buy into them.
Yeah, I have them 3, and I think they're the elite in the East with Brown and Tatum. You add Porzingis again. Health is a question. There's a lot of that in all with a lot of these teams, but I think that big 3 is very good. I think they'll continue to Tatum and Brown will continue to grow as players in this league. But to me, the biggest question is Brogdon in that point guard spot. Marcus Smart was just, you'd pencil him in. You knew he was always there for that team. Can Brogdon stay healthy? Is he the guy that can add enough, or will they be in the hunt for help at that position at some point as well? I think it's a big question mark, and there could be some guys that they might be able to go chase at some point. So,
So this is where we got to have a conversation with the homies at BetMGM because they have Boston at a plus 500, which ranks them second as far as BetMGM goes.
Yep.
Next up, we'll talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. They are at a plus 700 on the BetMGM Sportsbook app. I have them 3rd. Espo has them 4th. Gerald, you have them 2nd.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I got to address the chat because people are giving me shit for having the Suns number 3. First of all, holy shit, they're number 3 in the league. That's not the end of the world. Second of all, these are heading into the season rankings. This is not where I think these teams are going to end up. This is where I have them starting the season. And the Bucks are a regular season juggernaut. Like they didn't have Chris Middleton for a significant number of games, still had the NBA's best record. They're going to pile up wins because they have Giannis, because they have Drew. They added Malik Beasley. Like they're a good team. They flamed out in the playoffs. That was embarrassing. They have a new coach because of it. They're going to be motivated. Like, yeah, they're still a really good team in the East. I don't know what you guys are smoking if you think that they're not, but they're one of the top 2 teams in the East heading into the season. They just are.
They're definitely going to have a chip on their shoulder. That's for sure, because of the way that they flamed out in the playoffs. And Giannis is a phenomenal player. You can't count out a team that has Giannis on it.
Nope.
So
no, I love Giannis. I love Giannis's game. I know that's tough to say since they beat the Suns in the
he's
finals.
so easy to like, though.
Look, and everybody knows if there's somebody that'll hold a petty grudge, it's this dude. I'm looking at you, John Paxson. But I can't with Giannis. I just watch that game. It's fun to watch. He's got that energy. He tells his freaking dad jokes after the game. For me, the reason that they're not flip-flop with Boston is, what does Chris Middleton look like when he, is he still part of a big 3, or does that, does that injury change any of that for him? I also give them high marks for keep bringing back together the Lopez twins. Anytime you can have Robin and Brooke in the same place, it's
that.
good, unless it's in Orlando or in LA, because they would never be at practice. They'd be at Disney.
Be fighting, and they'd be fighting mascots all the time too.
I'm just saying,
aren't Disney basically like glorified mascots?
Yes, that's going to be fun. I am just saying though, Chris Middleton only played 33 games last year, and they still had the best record in the NBA. So that's where I'm going with that.
I don't begrudge you in that. I mean, in these top 4, for me, I think they'll jockey for position all year. I think you're going to see, depending on the week, any one of these 4 teams could be considered the best team in the NBA, depending on what run they're on in the regular season. They're all, those 4 are juggernauts, in this top 4 for all of us. So.
All right, now we are down to the top 2. I have Phoenix 2nd. Espo has Phoenix 2nd. Gerald has Phoenix 3rd. Let's discuss the Phoenix Suns. They are a plus 600 on the BetMGM Sportsbook app, so they would be third on their list.
I'm just
Interesting.
I'm just gonna say this. Unlike Gerald, I'm gonna pander the chat. We're putting the Suns number 1. I don't need to give the defending champs any love. I don't have to show them any respect. Why am I acting like I do? The Phoenix Suns put together the best roster in the league this offseason. They have the best duo. They have the best trio. Let's put them number 1.
But you didn't.
I am. It was one of those surprise. I fooled all of you because it was on the graphic one way.
Okay, sure.
I did have the Phoenix Suns first, and then I felt like I didn't want to start a war with our friends at DNVR. So I feel like they would have felt some type of way if I had done it. And like, it's no secret, I've kind of low-key thrown shade at the Nuggets every time we bring up rankings of any sort, asking the same question, like, do you really think they're going to be able to repeat? It's going to be really hard. Like, it just is. I don't know. I was just trying not to start a war.
Well, I'm willing to start it. It's not a golden era, baby. Phoenix is coming.
He says this, but he put Nuggets number 1 on his board.
I didn't.
I know.
It was all lies. All lies. Emma, why did you do me like that?
Emma said, bro, that's how you sent it. Sorry.
It must have been that
wasn't
dyslexia.
on
You
your
flipped them.
Emma's got receipts.
So, I mean, like, again, there's 4 main players in the NBA right now, and all 4 of those players at the top of our 4 spots on all of our lists. I'm excited to see what the Phoenix Suns do. We've talked about pretty much, I think we have, one more player that we haven't discussed yet as a newcomer on this squad?
Who, though? I mean, we've looked at all these names. Who could it be?
Looked at all
Who's
of them.
left?
Yeah, I think.
Bradley Beal.
Oh, yeah.
That's who, and I thought we were all
I thought Gerald knew who he was doing.
I was faking
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Jesus
Gotcha.
Christ.
That was good then, Gerald.
Here's your Oscar.
You got us.
Thank you.
That was solid work.
Thank you.
We'll talk about Bradley Beal and what we could expect, of course, next week for the Phoenix Suns. But as we've gone through what this roster looks like, who they've added, and the depth that the Suns have been able to bring in, the wingspan, the physicality, whatever you want to call it, all the things, I think the Suns are in a really good spot. I do think it's going to take a little time for them to fully figure things out, but I think this is going to be a really fun season for us.
Yeah, right. And that's why I have them number 3 as opposed to number 2 or number 1, because heading into the season, they have a new coach. They have like 10 new players, including Bradley Beal, who they need to figure out how those two mesh. They will mesh, and it's going to be beautiful once they figure it out, but there will be that adjustment process. And they're also going from a very point guard heavy offense with Chris Paul and Campaign to having Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant take on the majority of the playmaking. That's going to be an adjustment as well. So I think their ceiling is a lot higher than maybe what this number 3 ranking says heading into the season. But like to start the season, I'm not putting them over 2 teams that have a lot more continuity and have won titles in the last 2 years. Like I just don't have the grounds to do that.
So when you aggregate this piece, please entitle it Gerald Bourguet hated the Suns off season. All right.
Oh boy.
That's according to the chat. That's the headline.
All right. So then at number 1, we all have the Denver Nuggets. BetMGM has them at a plus 450. The biggest thing for them, of course, was losing Bruce Brown, which it's definitely they're going to feel it.
Yeah.
Right? You can't deny that they're not going to feel that, because when they came down to the playoffs, he was very valuable for them. They just couldn't afford to keep him. But they also have Nikola Jokic. And just like I said with Giannis, even probably a little bit more so, when you got Jokic on your squad, you can't be counted out whatsoever. Like,
No.
it is what it is.
He's the best player in the world right now.
Yes.
Like he just is. I think losing Bruce Brown and Jeff Green is going to hurt them come playoff time when those playoff rotations shrink. But they're a team that can rack up regular season wins just by their starting 5 alone. They're going to need Christian Brown to step up, and I like him, but I don't know if he's ready for that kind of Bruce Brown glow up that we saw from him last year. But they did get 2 good rookies that I like, Julian Strawther and Hunter Tyson. They're going to be a good team. Whether they can repeat, that's another question, because I do think not having Brown on both ends is going to impact them.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Jokic is the best player in the world. His number 2 is like 12th. So, you know, we got KD and Book. That's
And if it came down to just duos, we would have won the title last year.
NBA Jam style. Suns are champions, all right? I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, what up, Big Dog, who I believe is coming from Denver, says, we're cute.
I am. Thank you.
Thanks. What a big dog.
My mother
Appreciate
tells
you.
me
So
that
you
as
guys
well.
are cute.
Appreciate that.
You're so sweet. Probably the nicest DNVR Nuggets fan that we've had in the chat.
Well,
I think so.
Totes.
unless you read the first half of the comment.
I didn't see any first half of the comment.
He just
All
said
I
we're
saw
cute.
is you guys are cute.
He said DeBalzac, all right? That was the first half of the tweet.
Come on over to Phoenix. We'll take you down to Four Peaks. We'll buy you a beer. It'll be all good. Thanks for calling us cute. If you guys have not been to Four Peaks Brewery down in Tempe, you should absolutely check them out. It is a lot of great vibes over there. They've got great beer, of course, and they have really great food. Four Peaks is a fantastic addition to your sports viewing, whatever that looks like for you. If you're at a game, get some Four Peaks. If you're at home, get some Four Peaks. If you want to go out, go to Four Peaks.
If you're
Four
at the
Peaks goes hand
supermarket,
in
just
hand
crack one
with
open.
sports.
all
I
right?
mean, honestly, they really do. You should check them out on social at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Of course, you do have to be 21 years or older to drink Four Peaks, and we ask that you please drink responsibly. If you're going to be out on a patio right now, I know things are starting to cool down a little bit here in Phoenix. Make sure you have your eyes protected by getting yourself a pair of Shady Rays. Shady Rays has gear that is built to last. They are premium polarized sunglasses. They're an independent sunglass company with a world-class product. They're just as good as the expensive products, but they're much more affordable, and they have an amazing protection plan. So if you lose or break your pair of Shady Rays, even on the first day, they will send you a brand new pair.
I think they sell themselves short. They're better than all the other brands.
I mean,
Not just
yeah,
as
I
good.
agree.
They're better than those brands.
Absolutely.
They're the Phoenix Suns of sunglasses.
And
Everybody else is the Denver Nuggets.
and exclusively for all of you guys, Shady Rays is giving out their best
Why?
deal of the season.
We're
Go to
talking shade. Why
Do this to
shadyrays.com
ourselves.
and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. So to kind of put this like a bow on everything, I think we're all in agreement who the top 4 teams are in the league this year heading into the season. But in addition to that, Bleacher Report ranked the 10 best NBA players who changed teams this offseason. And I want to talk about the top 3 because 2 of those top 3 were within these 4 teams at the top of our list. So for Bleacher Report, the first best NBA player who changed team was Kristaps Porzingis. He went to Boston. We brought that up when we talked about the Celtics. That's a question mark, but it's a very interesting question mark, that's for sure. Second was Fred VanVleet going to Houston, which we all had Houston pretty low on our list. So I'm kind of surprised that they put VanVleet at number 2. And then third was Bradley Beal coming to Phoenix. Do you think Bradley Beal at 3 is a kind of a fair placement for him?
This is the worst take on Bleacher Report since they let anybody used to write on it back in the day, when literally it was just like you had to have a password and you could write a column on Bleacher Report. Really? Kristaps and Fred VanVleet ahead of Bradley Beal? Especially, hey, guess what? We didn't pay a premium like Houston did to convince Bradley Beal to come here. Kristaps is good, but it's not Bradley Beal. And I don't know. This clickbait. Clickbait. I'm calling clickbait.
I don't think it's clickbait. I just think people are lower on Bradley Beal because he's been wasting away in Washington. And I think people are going to be surprised at how well he fits in with this group and how like good luck double teaming Kevin Durant and Devin Booker when Bradley Beal is the guy that's going to feast as a result of that. I think he's going to be really good. And I do think like the knocks in the article were on his defense and his so-so efficiency.
Yeah, they called it leaky defense.
Leaky defense. Like, I think playing with the Wizards has something to do with that.
Yeah,
I think playing for a title contender will automatically up his effort and intensity on that end. I think playing for a guy like Frank Vogel will do the same thing. And I think playing with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal on a title or Devin Booker on a title contender will automatically boost your efficiency. Like we've seen it with guys before.
And less usage. Like it's the efficiency thing when you're the only guy on a bad team is such a weird argument to me because you literally have to do everything. Of course you're not going to be as efficient.
Right.
Like that's just the way it'll go. When you are the third option and you're a star with this group, your efficiency can do nothing but get better because the looks are going to be that much better.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you can compare Bradley Beal and the Wizards to Bradley Beal and the Suns because it's two totally different, I mean, honestly, games at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's apples to oranges because what Bradley Beal had to do for the Wizards to even remotely be competitive is completely different than what he's going to have to do here in Phoenix. So I don't know. It was an interesting thing. The rationale behind it, again, as you guys pointed out, maybe not too solid there. But I think maybe this just goes back to are people asking the same questions about us that we maybe ask about other teams in the league? Like, do they still just need to see it to fully believe it?
Of course.
And I don't think that I can blame them for that.
But that's not the premises of this article. That's what bothers me. This wasn't which team became that much better. It was what was the biggest name that moved? Like, what was the biggest move? Like,
I still think that that some of that is going to leak into whatever the topic of discussion is.
Look, I was a little harsh on Bleacher Report. It's August for them too. So
to be fair, didn't Bleacher Report give us some love just like 2 days ago with the best duos?
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Yeah, but
they did.
I forget things after 24 hours. On to the next one.
That was then. This is now. So be better tomorrow. All right, guys, that'll do it for us today. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you as always. We'll be back tomorrow, same place at 3 p.m. Again, if you are here on YouTube, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications so that you don't ever miss a show of ours. We appreciate you for that. If you're listening on audio, rate, review, subscribe. Also, really appreciate that as well. Until we see you tomorrow, you can follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
A Phoenix Suns podcaster leaves downtown Phoenix at 4:21, needing to get to Chandler by 5:30, driving at 65 miles an hour in rush hour traffic. Can he make it? I don't know. I'll tell you tomorrow. Ahoy, hoy.
Got to understand me. I'll always rep the family. Rally in the valley like Dan G. No plan B. Always on the job. My team move like the mob. Turn the beat on. I throw it down like DA on the lot. Best combo since...